What is up, guys? It's SCW here, back with another video for your channel. And today, as I promised you guys, the 50,000 subscriber special Q&A. So a few days ago I put out a community post for you guys to comment any questions you have regarding myself or for the channel, sorry. And yeah, I have the list here, so let's get into the video. Alright, to start off with the video, our first question is from my good buddy SWF Creations, and he says, how long does it take you to do a stop motion animation? Alright, to respond to your question, in my case, for my videos, which is just some finishers or a sequence, it usually takes up to half an hour, 40 minutes, up to an hour. Just depends on what you want to do. Let's say if you want to do a full match, it may take you the whole day, and on top of that, editing. But for me, in my case, I just make finishers and sequences. So to me, it generally just takes 40 minutes to an hour, sometimes to 2 hours. And then I gotta do the editing, then I gotta publish it. And then it's just a whole work to do those videos. But for me, in general, just like half an hour, 40 minutes, up to an hour. But hopefully that responded to your question. Alright, so for the second question is from my good friend as well, Extreme God Wrestling. So his question is, what inspired you to do insane stop motions? Alright, so I wouldn't say insane because I still have progress. I still have work to do. But my two inspirations that started this channel and my stop motion progress is jwsowner and Loser King 07. I think that's how you pronounce it. Link will be in the description if you guys want to check them out. Those two are the GOATs when it comes to stop motion for WWE figures. Those are the two channels that when I, like back in the day 10 years ago, I started making this YouTube channel was because of them, because I wanted to be like them. And I still have a lot to do, a lot of progress. And yeah, but those are two mainly the inspiration. Alright, so my third question comes from Deadly Champion Wrestling. He says, your favorite moment in wrestling? Alright, so for me, in my opinion, wrestling has moments every single time. So there could be your favorites. I have my favorite. My favorite is The Rock versus Hogan in WrestleMania, the Icon versus Icon match. That will forever, in my books, in my opinion, will be the best match in WrestleMania history, and my favorite moment in history for wrestling. So yeah, that is the staple of a sports entertainment is. I'm not gonna get in depth of what that match means, but you could look it up on YouTube or in Google and get from the real people that were there, which is Hogan and Rock. But yeah, my favorite moment in wrestling was that match, that Icon versus Icon match. And there will obviously be more moments in wrestling. Like there was a era in 2016, 2017 about the Bullet Club. That was a favorite moment of mine as well. But there was this moment as well where McIntyre won the Royal Rumble. And there's a lot, but my favorite moment in wrestling was Hogan versus The Rock at WrestleMania, and that will be forever my favorite moment in wrestling. Yeah, and I hope that answers your question. Alright, so the fourth question comes from ACW Wrestling and More. Not to get confused with the original ACW, but alright, so his question says, how long have you been making stop motion and how long have you been collecting? So I started in 2014 and we're in the year 2024, so that makes it 10 years. I don't remember, I think I started in April. So in April, I think we're turning 10 years old. This channel is 10 years old, so that's how long I've been making stop motions. But I had some times where I just completely wanted to get rid of this channel. I just stopped uploading. There was a time where I did not upload because I just didn't feel motivated, so I left it completely. Then I went back into it, then I left it again, and then recently last year I went back into this channel and tried to make it grow. And yeah, so that's how long I've been doing stop motion. But collecting, it goes way back. Sorry, it goes way back. Back in like I mean not 20, 2007, 2006, when like Jax were still the brand that used to make WWE figures. Um, so I've been collecting for that many years. I unfortunately don't have the Jax no more, but I'm not complaining because I prefer more the Mattel versions because they look more realistic, and they're just a beauty to have in a collection. But yeah, I've been collecting for years, and hopefully as well that answers your question. Alright, so for the fifth question, my good buddy SWA asks, when did you start watching WWE or wrestling in general? Also, what was the most expensive figure you ever bought? Alright, so those are two good questions because I can get deep into like what the question asks. So when did I start watching WWE? So WWE, what I remember, I used to only watch it by DVD when I first first saw some Raw or SmackDown. Probably was like back in 2011, 2010. Uh, I at that time I already knew what The Rock was, or a Stone Cold, or a Triple H, or Shawn Michaels. So when I first started watching WWE, but like at that time in that period, it was baffling to see an older Shawn Michaels, an older Triple H, and new guys like John Cena and Randy Orton. So I started watching WWE like it was like WrestleMania 24, I remember, or 23, and then in wrestling in general, I never knew there was other companies besides WWE. So I remember back in 2014, I just recently discovered TNA and NWA, and then after those years, they were more companies created. Like I think it was WCPW that was on YouTube, and a bunch of more companies. But I never knew there was wrestling outside of WWE, so that was new for me. I got to witness New Japan and then the creation of AEW. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question. Now, for the second one that you asked, what was the most expensive figure you ever bought? All right, so I used to get figures from my parents, not a lot of times, just like once for like Christmas or for my birthday, but it was not a lot. It was just like one figure, and I was always grateful. I'm always grateful. But when I first started getting paid by my job, the first figure I think I bought to start the collection off was a Randy Orton. But for now, that was not expensive. I remember now, that was not expensive. The most expensive figure is that guy right there. It's right here, behind the Rock. Yeah, Logan Paul, an expensive figure right now. For the Ultimate Edition is so expensive. Let me show you guys. So this right here, this guy, super duper expensive. I never knew at the time they were gonna bring out a elite version. I was not interested in the basic, so that's why I bought the Ultimate Edition one. But I am not complaining. I think I prefer more this than the elite. But I also want to get the elite because you never know when Logan Paul will leave WWE and then these figures skyrocket. But I have this figure. I adore it. I like it, and I think it's one of the best Ultimate Editions Mattel has ever done. So yeah, I think that's the most expensive figure I ever bought. I think second place would be the Bad Bunny because the head scan was different. I bought it from a guy on eBay. He did me the favor of painting the head. I think I bought the jacket from a Raquel Rodriguez Elite. The hands come from a Macho Man. The body is a Seth Rollins, and then I had to get the decals for the shirt. But overall, I think the most expensive one is Logan Paul, and I think second place is the Bad Bunny one in the back. And yeah, I hope that answers your question as well. Alright, so God Gamer asks, what is your favorite line of figures? Elites, Basics, AEW, Ultimate Editions, Supremes, etc. Alright, so my favorite line of wrestling figures is most definitely the Ultimate Editions. I rather prefer Ultimate Editions than the normal Elites. But like years ago, I think the Elites were better than the Basics. So in terms of who makes the best product for wrestling figures, it's WWE and Mattel. AEW. So my thing with AEW figures is just that they just look so cheap and they feel cheap as well. So I'll put up a picture right here. It's the John Moxley, right? You see his torso. Why is he jacked, but his arms are so skinny? And you just compare it to the real life John Moxley, and he's not even that ripped. So AEW's figures are so inconsistent with how they make their wrestlers. I know that the ones like Darby, Orange Cassidy, Penta, I think like Cody, I think those are just like the main ones that they look like their counterpart in human form, if that's how you would put it. But like people like Kenny Omega, in real life he is ripped, but he's not that ripped as it seems in his figure form. Chris Jericho is another example. I think, who am I missing from that list? Oh, MJF. So it's MJF. So if you see how he's in his figure form, you're gonna see that he's not identical to what he looks in real life. So that's like one of the main things I have with the AEW figures. I do have some. I just have it for collection purposes. I do not play with them because I feel like in any moment they're gonna like come off or they're gonna just be completely destroyed if I use them. But with the Mattel, I am fully confident that if I drop them, they're not gonna have marks on them, nor dents. But that's what I like about this, because they don't feel cheap, they feel expensive. So that's one of the things about what I collect and what I don't. So I rather prefer the Mattel and WWE line. But there's one Supreme that I do want to pick up, and that's that CM Punk. I still don't have that figure. I don't have it. So I gotta pick it up either by eBay or another webpage. But yeah, that's the only Supreme that I'm willing to purchase. Alright, so now the real ACW comments, and he says, why did you start collecting WWE figures and what inspired you to become a YouTuber? Okay, I think I already mentioned how I started collecting WWE figures, but to put it into like a more bigger picture, it's like, let's say you grew up watching let's just say Marvel movies, right? You watch Spider-Man, you watch Iron Man, like the Avengers movie, but you don't know them specifically. So after watching a whole decade of movies, you decide to collect their figures. So that's how I started with WWE. I first started watching the DVDs. I had my first Jacks, and then that's when like the real addiction came. You would call it like that, addiction. It's the figure collecting stuff, purchasing a figure, making your collections. So that's how I started my collecting and toy hunting. And what inspired me to become a YouTuber, I mean, I didn't look at YouTube as a way to get noticed. I just wanted to make videos because I just wanted to have fun. And that's what that was my priority like 10 years ago, after, trips and falls, and then just leaving the channel abandoned completely, but then taking it upon myself to make this channel grow last year. I still don't see myself as a YouTuber. I just do this as a hobby because I like collecting. I like the content that is being shown in YouTube with figures in general. So why not, if I have a collection, why not show it off? Why not build a community around it? Why not make the wrestling figure landscape community, however you want to call it, just a big, group of people who just have one thing in common, they have that same hobby. So a YouTuber, no, because that's not my full work. I have other stuff I have to deal with, but YouTube is just a hobby for me. My goal is not to get paid. It's just to build a fan base and content, just to inspire other people, just how I was inspired by, you would say, the original founding fathers of the wrestling community. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. All right, at the underscore fan 123 asks, who do you think is going to finally beat Roman Reigns' streak? Um, well, he's was already pinned by his cousin, so who is gonna beat Roman Reigns for the titles, I think, is your question. I think the plan here is obviously Cody Rhodes. Obviously, The Rock returned and he's challenging Roman, but to be honest, I don't see how Cody fits in this story. Um, but I think the man to do the job is Cody, because I think at first there wasn't nobody that could go toe to toe with Roman after literally beating every single person in the roster. Um, but we just have to see, let WWE do its thing and just enjoy wrestling. That's just what I have to say. So I hope that answers your question. Alright, so CBW Wrestling Figs left 2 comments. One says giveaways and shoutouts, and also, would you like to come on my podcast? For the first one, for the giveaways and shoutouts, I obviously would do shoutouts. I do shoutouts here and then, but not every so often because I forget about it. But the giveaways, I was thinking to do one, but the thing is just with the time I have, or with trust in, I don't know how you can say it, but I want to do a giveaway. It's just I just don't know how to do it, and I don't want to waste people's time. But I definitely want to give back to the people that helped grow this channel. But I think I could do that for a later date, but just not for right now. So the other question was the podcast. Thank you for the invitation. I accept, but there's one thing, is that I just don't have time, and I would love to come on the podcast, but the thing is I just don't have time. I have life things, I work, and even when I do not work, I still have to do stuff. So, if I have time, I can message you. Just let me know if you have an Instagram, if you have a Discord. Just let me know. All right. So BSWWN comments saying, "What's your favorite WWE game?" So I have 2, and it's not any of the 2K franchise games. Well, technically 2K14, just by name brand, but it was really made by THQ, and WWE 13 and 2K14 are the best games for WWE in general. Just I love the aesthetic and what's for the Attitude Era in WWE 13, and in 2K14, sorry, it's the 30 years of WrestleMania. So hopefully, if 2K, uses their heads for once and make a game for 2K24, hopefully they make a 40 years of WrestleMania, because they have another 10 years of matches they can put in that game mode. But hopefully, if they do it, I'll pick the game up. But yeah, 2K13 and WWE 13 and 2K14, sorry, are the GOATs of what the WWE game genre is, and I fully recommend it. If you still have a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360 or an Xbox One, I think you can still play those games. I definitely recommend those 2 games. Alright, so XEW Wrestling comments saying, "What's your favorite fig?" So, there's a lot of wrestling figures made by Mattel that are common, or they're exclusives, or they're super rare to find or to get. But I'm going to talk about in general in my collection. My favorite fig are 3. So it's this Logan Paul right here. So before he falls down, but it's this Logan Paul, this Bianca Belair that I just reviewed yesterday. If you guys want to check that video, link in the description. And then we got Mr. CM Punk in the back. So it's these 3 figures in my collection that I treasure them. They are good looking figures. I like him so much. So CM Punk is just very easy because it's a Punk figure. Right now his Mattels are going for a lot of money, and it's just that it just looks cool. looks cool. The tattoo detail is amazing. I got this head scan, came with the basic in good condition, so I just swapped it and it looks like spectacular. So this figure I really like. And then the Logan Paul Ultimate, just the jacket just makes it even more better. I got the decal from Curb Stomp City Decals, I think his name is. Just amazing. This figure is just cool. And then no words for Bianca. She's aesthetically looking very nice. This figure is, superb. So to like answer your question, my favorite figure are these three figures. But if I had to choose one, I would choose Logan Paul for the men's side, and then the only women's figure I have, Ultimate Edition, is Bianca. So these are two of the best figures in my collection right now. CM Punk as well, but I'm just waiting on the Ultimate Edition. If they're ever gonna make one, they should make one, because it's gonna sell like hotcakes, and that I'm gonna be picking up like 5 of them because I need them. So yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. Alright, so for the last and final question, SJW Wrestling 1 asks, what did you think when you first started your YouTube channel? Alright, so like I said, I created this channel 10 years ago just to do stop motions. So when I first created the channel, I was like anxious to make videos, if that makes sense, until like it came to a period where like I was having doubts on if I wanted to use my voice, because I don't like my voice, or if I wanted to show my face. At first I was gonna do it, but at the same time I was like, what happens if I do it and then I just don't like the video? So those are like doubts that come into making these videos and making a channel, because you don't want to get bullied. And one thing that like affected me was the thought of getting bullied just because I had a collection or making videos in general. So that was one of like the main things that I was thinking, like time and time again, like if it's gonna affect me in the future and stuff like that. So recently, like a few days ago, I just said F it, like I'm gonna use my voice, like for the first time. I actually have a video that I used my voice like 7 years ago. I didn't like it. It's still up. I was reviewing a Lego Star Wars set, and I don't want to tell anything, but yeah, I didn't like it, but I still have it up there because it's still a memory. So if you want any advice on what to like what you want to feel when you start a channel, I would say you have to feel anxious in a way of like happiness, like joy, like you're finally doing something that you want to do and nobody can tell you not to do it. So with what I felt, or what I thought first making my channel, I would say nervous and anxious and in doubt, but right now we're doing good and there's no doubt in me. I'm not gonna reveal my face because of privacy reasons, but for now, my voice. So thank you all for your questions, for taking the time out of your day into like commenting just for this video to be made. Thank you once again for 50,000 subscribers. It's like I said in the last video and in the video before that, I just said thank you to you guys because it's really a blessing, and it's something that's super cool. Like 50K doesn't come twice in a lifetime, it only comes one time. So thank you guys for 50,000 subscribers, and hopefully we get to 100K this year. Thank you all for your time, for your comments, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.